Yo. It's been a minute since I've been on this thing, man. I've been ripping and running and running and ripping and ripping and running and running and ripping, but not doing no tripping. I ain't been in the lowriders dipping. Ain't doing no slipping. I've been on the planes. I've been in the sky, flying high, looking down, telling myself, make it happen now, because one day you gonna die. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like my ATM hat? I found this hat is probably about 12 to 15 years old. I did a song with Migos and Ray J called ATM. I remember this shit. I had to be about 2012 or some shit, 13 or some shit. Shout out to Magic from 87. He tried to bring his crazy ass through there, not knowing it was my video shoot doing what Magic do. He say, Brody, I didn't know this was your setup. They just told me it was some out of towners in town. Said, Magic, you gotta get your ass away from me, because back then, Dirty Magic, as we called it from 87 Gangster, was the boogie, oogie man. But today, he does books over bullets. He got a major movement he been doing, my man Magic. He called himself something else, Dr. something, but I just refuse to call him that. I know he's trying to get away from the magic stigma, but I like the magic stigma because I would love him to clean it up. As he been doing for at least a good 5-6 years from now. Shout out to my man Magic from A7 Gangster. Those who know him, y'all tap at him, get at him. He got a nonprofit over there called Books Over Bullets, which I believe is a great movement. So, last night I was sitting back and I was thinking about, damn, Wack, you making a lot of major moves, man. You got a lot of seeds planted, a lot of things set up. Man, you doing one hell of a job. And you know, sometimes you watch things or you see things and you read things and you don't even realize that that's the seed of what you see. And then your thought process and your action is watering the seed and it grows. And I had to keep it real with myself. I watch people. I study people. I studied The Godfather growing up as a kid. Used to watch it religiously. It wasn't a week that went by that I wasn't researching and watching that, and things that was going on in my life, right? I was kind of using what they was doing in there, those tactics, to figure out my situations on the streets. Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying? I felt like it was easier, more submissive to follow than go renegade with your own thoughts of correction. And I knew that those are things that could lead to you being unalived, lead to you not being so popular, but it leads to you being who you are as a man and a leader. So with saying that, I started thinking about Snoop Dogg, right? And we watched Snoop Dogg come into this fold up under death row. You know, it's a few intricate details that I know that the world may not know, because I got a lot of comrades over there from that side who was around during those times. And, you know, I got a respectable relationship with Snoop Dogg as well. From time to time, we may have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, he's allowed me to his world. He's done a few things. He did the Respect My Crippin' remix with Blueface. That was monumental for me as well as nephew. But I watched Snoop Dogg come into the fold as an artist. I watched him bring other people to the table, his family, Daz, Corrupt, Nate, Warren, you know, the whole LBC crew. I've watched him get caught up, go through murder trials, and I also watched him stand on his own business and say, hey, Bad Boy ain't my enemy. I knew Bad Boy before y'all thing was going on. right? So I ain't got no issues with Puff. I ain't got no issues with Big. Knowing that the company he stood with or certain individuals would have a problem with that. But the fact that he had the heart and the mindset to stand on who he is and what he believed in, right? That was another seed planted. Pay attention to the seeds that's been planted. You'll start understanding me a little more. I watched him make a decision to walk away from something that they was attempting to entice him with. Death row. You could be the president. You can be this. You could be that. One should win. You know what I'm saying? You could be the face of it, right? And he knew that he could have had his run of the table. But instead of sitting in that tempting seat as being the face of it, the president of Death Row, he chose to go another way and go to No Limit as an artist. But he didn't just go over there as an artist. He went over there and became a student. Because at Death Row, all he was a mule. He was something to get to the money, something to keep their name big. You know what I'm saying? As they suppressed him, right, of only letting him do so much and be so much. I think Snoop Dogg realized that when you was out and you was home, you never approached me to be the president. You never approached me to have some ownership in this company, although I'm one of the big faces of this company, helping grow this company, right? But yet now you're in a vulnerable situation or you're in a time of need. Now you reaching back to me and you trying to play on the sentimental card and think I'm gonna dive on it. But I think Snoop knew that that was gonna be a limited situation. He knew the minute things started to grow the way he could have grew it over there, they would create some type of situation to remove him or say it was a problem. And or when Suge came home, he would create some type of problem because he felt like he was being outshined. So he chose to go to No Limit, where he became an artist, but a student. And by him becoming a student, he turned into a boss. Footprint or blueprint, Snoop Dogg. When I'm looking at everybody on the West Coast, it's probably, and I gotta break this down so nobody takes this wrong. It's probably two other people that I would say stands in the same arena as Snoop. One quite naturally being Dr. Dre. We could never take that from him. How he stands today, his accomplishments, where he comes from. One of the ones that was partially responsible for the rise of Snoop Dogg. And Ice Cube. Because Ice Cube was, before Snoop, an artist that Snoop probably grew up on. And Snoop and Ice Cube today is still relevant and still adding to all the accolades that he already has prior to the movies, the albums, the TV series, crossing over from gangster rap to being the guy from Are We There Yet that our kids know, that don't know him as a rapper. The big three, sports, let's applaud that. Grooming his son, who now stars in major motion pictures and movies, right? So fatherhood, you know, the transfer of that lineage, right? Those probably about the only other people that I put in the same arena together. Now, there's other people out here. Top Dog Top Dog is probably, think about it, the only runner-up. And when I say runner-up, it's because I think Top Dog would agree, even he himself, when he was hustling in the street and going through what he was going through, was watching the rise and the success of Dre, Cube, and Snoop, right? So even Top Dog himself and being where he's at today, wouldn't have a problem saying, yeah, that building was there before me. But Top Dog is probably our top runner-up to what Dr. Dre, Cube, and Snoop was. So I look at that last position and I say, damn, it's a position open. You know, who's the fifth one, Wack? Who's the fifth one? And again, I'm talking about artists and I'm talking about people in the music industry. They got a lot of contenders. You got Black Sam doing his thing. You got myself, I'm doing my thing, and I'm still probably about 30% of where I want to be on what I'm trying to do in the lane I'm trying to do it in. Shout out to my business partners. Got great news yesterday evening. Everybody signed off, so, you know, the ship gonna start selling a little faster. So y'all stay tuned and see what that may be. I picked up over the last month. I haven't been on here because I've been, shout out to Hip Hop Council for the super chat. I've been, me and R&B have been traveling and digging into other things and other businesses and things we got going on. Liquor licenses, clubs, and setting up the Ego Exposed podcast, which is spearheaded by R&B, co-hosted by myself, as well as others. Sorry to say the first episode I can't be there, I had somewhere to be, but 607 Unc has agreed to sit down with R&B and do that interview. Kind of stepping into this Kevin Samuel space. You know what I'm saying? We got the female opinion and the male opinion. So everybody better get ready to hear the harsh reality of what you might be and may not be. But let's get back to Snoop. Snoop goes to No Limit, does his thing. And dog, I love you to death. I hated you at No Limit. I hated seeing you in Army fatigues. I hated some of the production they gave you to rap over, although you showed your versatilities. Wack, I'm a West Coast ninja. I hated it. But as time went on, I understood it. We look up a lot of controversies Suge went through, Snoop went through, that a lot of you youngsters don't know. Y'all remember when he kind of went with the name Big Snoop Dogg? That's because he realized that Suge Knight had put some ownership and trademark it on Snoop Dogg or Snoop Doggy Dogg. So in came Big Snoop Dogg. And he slid that in there in a way that people really didn't catch it to even ask why he did that, right? He eventually was able to do whatever he needed to do to take back ownership of his original title, and he has that today. After he already rebranded a whole nother moniker that's still relevant today. So I look up, and you know, I believe in what you put in the universe comes back 360. Those are words and teachings of my big brother, DJ K. Slay, from the 5% side, Harlem, New York, stand-up, East River Projects. And I say that because when I look at Snoop, you never hear about negative things with Snoop when it comes to other individuals. You never hear about it. And I'm a constant work in progress. No, don't get it twisted. You never hear about it, and I watch and I pay attention and I look back at myself, I look in the mirror, I reflect upon myself and say, hey, what makes this individual great? These things makes this individual great. What are you lacking when it comes to those things that make that individual great? And then I start to critique myself, and that's where I lead to making my necessary adjustments. But we've seen Snoop rise from gangster rapper, platinum artist, to superstar, to icon, to being the most noticeable artist in the world, to being the owner of the very same label they tried to entice and manipulate him with to sit as a seat as president. That's a good feeling to know the only seat I've ever had over here outside of music is the owner, right? In the form of Death Row. And I know a lot of people saying, yo, what is Snoop doing with Death Row? We don't see nothing going on. It's a lot going on over there. Got a movie, 1992, with Tyrese. That's a Death Row movie. His son over there is spearheading a lot of the technology side of things, gaming side of things, which has generated a lot of revenue. Snoop has a kid's cartoon that's heavy in Europe and Africa. If those of y'all don't know. His merch is there. And he has a compound, which I would say he probably has the biggest compound amongst the artists and people like that as an independent man, sitting over there in Inglewood. His compound has a green room. It has a movie screen out back, has all his toys and lowriders, has a huge media podcast room, has a barber shop, has a casino room, has a full court basketball, has, I could be wrong, 4 or 5 studios, has a huge loft condo style type of living headquarters. I know I'm missing a whole lot. Did I say barbershop? That's there. It's a whole lot going on. Kitchens and you name it over there, right? So footprint or blueprint? Well, sometimes you got to step into the footprint to follow the blueprint. So I believe it's both of them on that side of it, right? Footprint or blueprint. I think Snoop Dogg is a perfect footprint to step into to follow the blueprint, which is a great lead to follow, is all I'm saying. Clubhouse Shenanigans, appreciate the super chat, right? I'm asking myself, Snoop is, I believe, 50 years old, give or take. Wack, when you look at Snoop and what he's doing versus what you're doing, how do you compare? His success rate of the things he has initiated are greater than mine. But Snoop is a pure motivation. It's pure motivation. That's what it is. It's straight motivation. Because he comes from Long Beach. You know what I'm saying? You know, he comes out the trenches like a lot of us. And the motivation is not the challenge of the business, is can you humble yourself and smile at times that the energy says you're not supposed to be smiling. That's my challenge when it comes to Snoop, right? Very seldom have I seen him frown, and if I see a slight frown, it's usually followed up with words of encouragement or words of wisdom. I don't really see him respond. For the first time he responded to Suge Knight, I believe, on his last album, and I think he kept it simple. It might have been one verse. He went at him, open shut, put a nail in him, closed the coffin. So I think I have to work on, and that's what I am working on, is being able to smile at times that they think you're supposed to frown. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta feel blessed when you even have opportunities, when you have situations and you have a phone book or a Rolodex of people that don't mind doing business with you and enhancing and empowering your ideas and your thoughts. Checklists. We got distribution of products. Music is still there. We have television coming in form of a series. Dead Homies, one of the trailers just came through, and I will be marketing and promoting that. We got boxing promotion that's happening. This fight you seen 600 on. My brother Steve Marcano partners with him over there on that. We just signed a 6 boxing deal in Florida at the casino out there. I believe we got one November, one January coming up, the next two. We have the Yin and the Yang book dropping, which is authored by the lovely R&B. We have Ego Exposed podcast, which is spearheaded and co-hosted by R&B, co-hosted by myself. Got a lot going on. A few other things I don't want to speak on, but a lot going on. But nevertheless, find you somebody, bro, that you respect. And even if you don't like them for whatever reason, because where they from, or maybe a few decisions they made or whatever, there's always something about a person that you can learn from, you can gain from. That's free game, right? That's free game. That's really not being selfish, because they know even an enemy could watch them, and the things that they're exposing could help them. But when you're dealing with the world, it don't matter, because your key thing is to turn your enemies into allies. You may not get all of them, you may get one or two of them, but that's better than the odds that you're dealing with now. So Snoop Dogg, I believe, is the footprint and the blueprint to what it takes, the motivation, the drive, the not taking no for the answer, the renegade, the not being a sheep, not following everybody else because it seems like the cool thing to do, making your decisions and not being scared to make the sacrifices that may lead to a loss now, because it may give you your biggest W's later. Every week I'm gonna be coming on here giving somebody their flowers. You know, it's a lot of people that we talk about when it comes to paperwork. We talk about when it comes to something they did that they shouldn't have done. But it's a lot of people that have done good and positive things that we never talk about. We never shed light on them. And a lot of the youth don't know a lot of these people. They don't. Yo, let me get a thumbs up if y'all part of the 100, 100 team in these YouTube streets. Let's hit that subscribe button, subscribe, hit the thumbs up. I know y'all saying, is Wack going through a transition? I've always going through a transition. I've been going through a transition all my life. Some transition people like, some people they don't like. The biggest transition people haven't liked about me is me going the opposite way and say I do business with anybody, right? And I caught a lot of flack about that. You know what I'm saying? 6ix9ine probably being the biggest worldwide. Me signing Blueface and Savvy Third, I caught some flack from the Damu community about that, right? But the 6ix9ine signing probably brought me the biggest flack. But let me tell you how the 360 worked, which I just explained about how I see Snoop Dogg's 360. Started at Death Row, and it's not ending at Death Row, but came back to Death Row in a different role, right? Started a Death Row artist, dangled the presidential bond, denied that, took a loss, went in as an artist student, came back up, circled back, and now he's back at Death Row in a different role as owner, right? We applaud that. Great 360. Now, 6ix9ine, I think I did my first interview with him 2019, 2020. I've done maybe 2, 3 of them. Akademiks twice. I brought him on a big one on Clubhouse. I did the Kodak, memorable moments of Wack 100 and 6ix9ine, the Kodak Black feature. And I think we may have had a meeting over there in the Bahamas where people spotted us. Okay, so let me tell you how this goes 360. Our partner Steve Marcano says, Wack, I need you on the team. We open up this club. I got some ownership for you. I need you and your team, which I know is R&B, to come in and give me a checklist of things you could do. So we come in, we say, okay, the menu, setting up of the kitchen, the promoters, we'll make sure 4 of the nights are controlled by different promoters, whether it's Latin, whether it's urban, disco, believe it is back in style. Be my job and my duty to find the proper promoters, the marketing and planning things and so forth. I passed half of the responsibilities over to R&B, the other half I do, as well as finding somebody that could be a big brother to us because we're in somebody else's town, right? This club's in Hollywood, Florida, 1900 Hollywood Boulevard, right? So as I'm in Florida last week, a week and a half ago or so, we go out there doing a fight that y'all see 600 on. I run into a nice Latin lady. She asked me, can I take a picture with you? I said, yeah, no problem. The gentleman that was with her was, he walked up, hey, Wack, I want to shake your hand. He tells me his name. I'm still kind of oblivious to who these people are. I get this a lot. One thing I can say, I get it from young, old, white, black, Asian, everybody. I guess I've crossed over into a lot of people's lanes. I go to sleep, I wake up, I get a text from 6ix9ine. It's a picture. He said, you ran into my mother and took a picture with my mother. I look at the picture and I zoomed in on the picture, and me and R&B said, yeah, that's his mother. I said, yeah, she was nice. I said, she was with a gentleman. He said, yeah, that's my cousin. I said, oh, yeah? So he said, call me. He said, what you doing out here? I said, man, we got permits and we gutting this building out here, club over here. He said, oh, yeah? Yeah. He said, you got your liquor license, you got a restaurant? I said, we got a restaurant in there and everything. He said, you know the dude that was with my mother? I said, yeah. He said, I'm gonna send you his number. I said, okay, what's up with him? He said he owns like 4 or 5 clubs, 2, 3 restaurants, and he sits on the board for all the liquor license and permits for anything in that area you're in. Uh-oh, here come the full circle. I called the gentleman with my business partner, Steve Marcano, on the phone, R&B on the phone, told him we was doing, I sent him the blueprints of the building. He said, I'm familiar with the building, it's a nice building, corner spot, yeah. So he said, okay, these are the things I can assist you in. Steve said, those are all the areas we was a little weak in. He said, yeah, you know how it is. When you come in somebody's town, depending on who's vouching and standing with you, depending on how it's gonna go. So I can speed up all the inspections, make sure your liquor license is secure, the promoters you want. I can definitely provide a minimum 2 of them on the Latin side, which is great. Urban side is not a problem. I can still reach down there to my man Headliner Mike or Phil the Mayor or those cats that run Live and they assist me. And I said, okay, what is it gonna cost me? He said, man, you've been a friend to my family, the 6ix9ine, and you've been fair with them. So it's on me. See, what you put in the universe gonna come back 360. It's a fact. It's gonna come back one way or another. It's gonna come back in a good way or a bad way. So when people are trying to understand why is Wack doing what he's doing, you probably won't understand it unless you ask me, because I'm doing what I'm doing because my intuition, my gut feeling, my mind state, and my heart is telling me to do these things. Me. Now, I'm not you. So I know that everybody has their own personal reasons of why they feel the way they feel and so on and so forth. And you have to follow your lead. My lesson in this today is be who you are, stand for what you stand for, and follow your intuition and give a damn about what the masses say, right? always get approached with Wack, we don't see you giving back to your community. We're gonna address that. I never really wanted to talk about it because it's a pro and a con to be talking about this. But we're gonna talk about this. One point in time, I was of my neighborhood. I was about my neighborhood because that was my neighborhood and that's where I'm from. Over the last, I've been home 26 years. When I came home, my neighborhood was a little different. That was 99. Over 2.5 decades, my neighborhood as I knew it to be, me, is not my neighborhood. There wasn't a block that I used to couldn't drive down and at least 20, 30, 40% of that block was occupied by people that my mother went to school with, that my grandfather worked with, that I was raised up with, played football with, basketball with, rode mini bikes, went to the boys club with. This is real. Even in our projects, that's not our project. Those projects are all the projects, but that's not the projects that I came up doing it in. It's a total different vibe, and I believe the vibe is for the better. A lot of my neighborhood has been dispersed. Arizona, Las Vegas, Texas, Atlanta, I'm hearing, Fontana, and a large amount to the Antelope Valley, Palmdale, Lancaster area. And up there, people aren't really coming together. Shout out to Jordan Dots on 3137. When Wack talks, his gems being dropped. Appreciate that. People kind of moved away to stay away to get in their own little zone and focus on what it is they wanted to do, right? And I get that, understand that. I'll raise my children in Antelope Valley. Funny thing is, once they got grown, they ventured out to other places. I get it, right? But I'm gonna be real. And I'm just throwing a random number, if at one time, the population of Pacoima is maybe 110,000, which is not a small population. If at one time I knew, let's just say 300 people in my neighborhood, just throwing it out there. As far as people, mothers, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, friends, street niggas, gang members, whoever. That 300 probably down about 40, 50 in my actual neighborhood. People are gone. See, when we was being raised, my father's kids knew they homeboys' father's kids and vice versa. Now, my kids don't know my homeboys' kids because everybody is everywhere. Shout out to Frenchie, right, for the super chat. Everybody's everywhere. So I say that if I'm gonna go to Pacoima and do something, it just gotta be because I'm gonna do something. I don't feel I could do something for my neighborhood as it stood when I grew up because the people aren't there anymore. Not the people I grew up with, the people I'm familiar with. It's a certain tension down there. And not to say that I should disregard or ignore what is down there. I'm simply saying when Top Dog goes and does a concert in the Nickerson Gardens, he knows he's doing something. He sees his homeboys' kids. He still sees his homeboys' mamas. He see aunties. He see people that helped raise him. He see like 5, 6 generations of shit, right? And as a lot of other neighborhoods are like that. My neighborhood, unfortunately, it's been spread out, bro. So do you say, Wack, do you do anything? My mindset is geared for doing it for the world, whoever it may be. You know what I'm saying? Some people may come to me and say, Wack, we trying to do this for our neighborhood. Like Lil John's been on me. He want to do a diaper giveaway in Compton somewhere. When he figure out the details of what he want to do, I'm pretty sure I'm going to I'm definitely going to make that happen, as well as for the niggas and gardens. Top Dog has reached out. I'm going to send some product that way as well. But I'm going to be real. And I think my G homies and people from my area agree. If I went to my neighborhood and did a diaper giveaway today, if 300 people showed up, I'd probably be in tune with 20 of them, right? So, you know, that's where I grew up at. That's where I'm from. But that, as it stands, is not what I knew it to be. It's just what it is. You know, and I mean that. It's just a real thing. It's a large amount of my homies that reside in other places. They know that to be true. So that's why you don't see me doing a bunch of neighborhood work like that, because it's like, I feel like you gotta have some type of connection to the people you're doing it for. So I can't be down there looking at a bunch of people I don't know, or they don't understand me and I don't understand them. The individuals that reach out to me, then we could work something. Other than that, nah. I can find something else to do with my time. But other people, those that are wherever, if you feel a certain connection and tired of where you at, it might be a little different as I see it is. I see still a lot of history and generational acknowledgement in a lot of people's neighborhoods outside of mine. Cool, hit me up and I can maybe set you up. But in the meantime, I'm gonna be real. I'll probably come out better doing it in the Antelope Valley, getting to my people, than actually going to the actual city I'm from. That's just real. And a lot of my homies gonna be like, damn, Wack, that don't sound good. But I got a saying that says, the truth could never be considered disrespect. And as a 48-year-old man, actually, a 48-year-old young man, let me correct that, I'm not trying to restrict myself to nobody's neighborhood, respectfully. That ain't what I'm trying to do. Those that are in the struggle to get out, keep climbing, keep trying. There's a book I read as a kid that always motivated me, The Little Engine That Could. I think I can, I know I can, I know I can, I think I can. Keep that going in your mind and keep pushing in the way you gotta push. Moving further on, Wack, your interview with 607 Up was a total different side of you. My interview with 607 Up, as I told you guys, was Cash Jones. Right now, for the last 37 minutes, you've been hearing from Cash Jones. Wack 100, let me reiterate this, is an entertainer's personality. He's no different than the rappers that have a stage name or the actors when you see Denzel play a crooked cop in Training Day, or Genius and Bone Collector, or a drug dealer in American Gangster, so on and so on, right? Wack 100 comes on when whatever's in front of him says it's time to entertain. Yeah, he's an entertainer. Cash Jones, that's a guy in real life, right? That's who he is. So at the end of the day, I want you guys to gear up and get ready for more educational things from me, more enlightening conversations. I do want to start having somebody come on here with me, so you guys, people in the chat who are serious about having a real conversation about a real topic, right? Y'all know Wack reach down to the people. Out the mud I come, out the mud, back to the mud I shall go, right? I'm gonna be looking to bring some of you guys up where we one-on-one on here. Again, if you come up trolling, you will be blocked permanently. Come up with the mindset to have a conversation, challenge me to a conversation that's gonna be enlightening and educational to the chat, to the people in the YouTube streets. So we gotta start working towards that. I told Adam just yesterday, and I missed a week, so we had a double Wack and Gumby week. Me and Adam had a great segment yesterday, which comes out Sunday, 12 noon. We touched on this Kanye In Whose Name movie. It's an hour and 45 minutes, y'all. I seen about 10 minutes of it. It's serious. Kanye signed off. Everybody signed off. I guess in those times, everybody was comfortable. It's going to 1,000 screens. I reached out to the people doing the movie, trying to request the cities and locations of these screens. Cinemark, Regal, and another one have all contracted this to a 1,000 screen collectively total. So I'll be knowing in the next couple of weeks what screens and what city, right, that they'll be. So you guys might want to run and get your tickets because you may want to go out the first weekend because me knowing Ye, he going to be working overtime to probably shut this thing down. I don't know. Ye usually doesn't do something that he doesn't want to do. And one thing about it, there's no way that these locations would have agreed for this thing to come into their screens if documentation wasn't there to make sure everybody's clear. But I see Kim Kardashian, I see the kids, I see prisoners, I see all kind of people. And they saying and talking about some things that's very personal, very private, but it's real. Is it a Ye bashing? No. It is a Ye truth. Some dark, some light, some in between, like what is going on. So y'all may not want to miss this. Ye been kind of quiet. Usually when he get quiet, he got something up. Usually he gonna present us with something, some gear, some clothing, some music, something. You never know with him. You know, a car, shit, another planet. You know what I'm saying? It's only one Ye in this world. Brother, I'm not gonna even say that. Pitbull, Gregory, Baby Crazy O. His funeral was yesterday. I had a hard decision to make. And I'm gonna tell you brothers that's alive, man. Please, man, structure your situation to where it's not a lot of conflict and confusion when you pass away. You know, have some life support. You know, have you a trust, giving direction of who's doing what. You know, he was part of grew up in the Harlems. He was NOI, He had a family, and he was part of Undisputed Bike Club. You know, he hadn't got his full everything yet, but he was over there doing what he had to do to get all his patches. So with me seeing that, I called myself staying in my place and said, I'm gonna let everybody do what they're gonna do before I step in and do what needs to be done. So, you know, after a couple weeks, you know, I know how these bodies go, bro. I tapped into it. And the auntie is very, very sweet lady. She was very cool with me and open with me. His baby mother, Jasmine, they were married. They were in the process of a divorce. So, you know, I would say wife, but then that's a term that really wasn't going on because I got a different ideology of what a wife is. Once y'all go your own separate ways, and my responsibilities to you and yours to me for certain things ain't there, and they to somebody else, that's who that title goes to. You know, she did the best she could. But when I got the call that it was some things needed, I went into action. I called my mortuary, my guy Mike at Rutgers. Shout out to Mike, he's always there for me. And we located a burial location in Inglewood because wherever they wanted to go was a bit ways out, and the family wasn't comfortable with that. And, you know, I got the cost to all that, and I was gonna handle that cost, eat that cost. Had a few guys on Clubhouse that expressed that they, if any, they wanted to be part of that because that was their brother, CL, my brother Bang. Brock was very adamant about it out of Houston. J.O., Lavish. These are people, Dreas. These are people that like, yo, Wack, something needed. We want to be part of that. So when I got all the price and everything, I went together, okay, let's get it done. Yeah, I fill in the blanks or whatever. Call back, let's get it done. And I get a call from the auntie. The auntie's kind of telling me to kind of back off, let them do it their way, respectfully. I got to think about Pitbull. I don't respect Pitbull, I'm going to respect her. I bagged up. Next thing I know, I get a call from Jasmine. Some things are going on with the first wife. And I end up on the phone with the auntie and a lady named Allie, who they saying is Pitbull's one of his best friends, a female. So she goes in and tells me that they're not gonna put Jasmine in obituary because she's just a baby mama. I said, nah, that was his wife. I know they separated, but he also has another kid, a older son is 21 that lives down in Houston. Right, I've spoken to his mother, and he needs to be included. And I'm being real calm with it. And out of nowhere, this lady Allie says, "You and Pitbull must have been." Yeah, she says it. You and Pitbull must have been because you are overly invested in what's going on. I said, well, first of all, you being disrespectful. Pitbull ain't from the gay community. I'm not from the gay community. And for you to let them words come out your mouth, and I wanted to be Wack 100 and say some things, but I didn't. The auntie was on the phone. The auntie was kind of took it back hearing what she heard. And I kind of got off the phone. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I used to lie to myself at times. I've learned not to lie to myself and tell myself I wasn't mad when I knew I was mad. I wasn't bothered when I knew I was bothered. So I said, well, Wack, it's time for the funeral. Family hit me, Young Magnificent hit me. Wack, oh, where you at? We here, we waiting on you. You one of the honorable pallbearers. And I said, Wack, this lady that you don't know has some type of ill feelings towards you. If you see her and she says something out of order to you, where you at mentally right now, are you able to absorb that and keep moving? And my answer was no. I did a great job when she came with the initial disrespect and insinuated that me and Pitbull, an honorable man, are involved because she said, you're doing too much and you're overly invested. I said, well, I got to call her what needed to be done. I waited a couple of weeks. It's obviously things ain't being done, so I'm trying to fill in the blanks. And she said the crazy shit again. I wanted to call her a few things, but I didn't. But I knew that if I was to run into this person and they targeted me and said something crazy like that in my face, I would probably disrespect the funeral. So, I made the decision to fall back. I got enough recordings and enough history with nephew to still be able to see him. I don't know if I even wanted to see him in that state because it was damn near 3 weeks. We know after about 10 days, 2 weeks max, what that body started doing. So for those of you that was at Pitbull's funeral and didn't see me, that's why I didn't show up. Allie, whoever you may be, you are a horrible best friend. You knew me and that brother's relationship. You knew I was only stepping in because I got a call, and I was stepping in to assist because things wasn't done, respectfully. So may he rest in peace. And we're going to all continue our journey. We'll see the brother on the other side. Somebody's asking me a question. Hey, bro, what's happening? I got a question, bro. How much money should I invest in real estate? You should invest whatever amount that you can not feel. If you got 100,000 that if it disappeared today, you wouldn't feel it, then take that 100,000 and invest it in real estate, smart real estate. Reason being, the market goes up, the market goes down. If you're renters or whatever, if it's commercial, things happen. So you don't want to be like, this 100 need to make this, and if it don't make this, I'm gonna be in trouble. Tell yourself you don't even want to check on it for another five years, and then look over there and see what it is. Right? So that's my question to you. else we got on here? Yeah, Pitbull passed. He left us, I want to say July 27th. Yeah, by way of a motorcycle accident. For those that are on the chat that's asking me. Easy. So you were scared, got it, huh? It's a lady, my nigga. Like, what do you mean scared of a lady? Don't even make sense. But you probably still a little boy, so one day you'll grow up and you'll get it. If my respect for my brother is greater than my distaste for another individual, then I'm gonna respect my brother. Know yourself. That's why some of y'all in the situation you in, you'd even know that you couldn't drive drunk, stupid. A few more questions and then we're gonna let it go. I got a few things to do, a few places to be. What is the most important advice for upcoming artists? The most important advice for upcoming artists is make sure you have all your socials, your Instagrams, your YouTubes, your TikToks, your Spotify accounts. Make sure you have all those aligned, registered, and active and working them. If you don't know how to work them, get you a team, some of your family members, some little youngsters, pay them people to work your socials. You can send me 10 songs. I'm gonna go to your socials first. If your socials ain't right, if you're non-existent, if you're not putting in work on your socials, I'm not gonna even listen to your music. Artist development when it comes to the labels is non-existent today. It's probably only one label like QC that will invest time and effort and monies into artist development. Other than that, that's the best advice I can give you. Once again, you can go to my Instagram. You've been exposed, me and Flacco, for these up and coming podcasters, YouTubers, and artists. We got an excellent package for you guys. We give you guys a bunch of things to shed light on what it is you doing, transfer our light, to build your following, and to bring some attention to who you are, your pages, your music, so on and so forth. So you go up there and check it out. Go to _the100 show, Instagram, hit the link. It's called You've Been Exposed. Check it out, give you directions. And if you want to be involved in that, you can go ahead on and fill out those forms, and the lovely R&B will definitely get back to you and schedule you. In the meantime, between time, is Friday. Y'all have a safe day. Tune in to No Jumper, 12 noon, Sunday, Pacific Standard Time. Stay tuned and get ready for a bunch of new business ventures coming your way. Be closing 2025 out with a vengeance and bringing 2026 in with a bang. And on that note, I see you next time. I'm out.